What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Line on the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we are back today with another episode of Fett's Vette. Oh man, this has been such a joy to build so far. I'm really looking forward to what we're doing today, and that is going to be to put our reddish-brownish color around the base and attempt to do weathering without me doing any sort of research whatsoever. We shall see how this goes. Now, what I have done in between recording, I've picked up a bunch of things over the last couple weeks as I've put together my office. Since readjusting my office and getting our current lineup set in place, there's been one kind of common element, and that's been I need better equipment. And so over the last couple weeks, I have finished kind of collecting everything that I need, and the last little bit was what I picked up today, and that was some proper masking tape. We're going to be doing a lot of painting all of our models for the next little while, and masking tape is going to be the way that we're going to go for the time being. One of our commenters, and I'll go ahead and throw his name up again up on the screen. This has been such an amazing tip. He has turned me on to Aztec Dummy and the basically a masking kit for different models that are available out there. And you know, if I had just known this a couple weeks ago, things would have been a little bit different with all of the models that we're building. And so instead we're going to be doing custom jobs, but going forward, you know, we're going to be using the Aztec dummies where we can, just because they're highly rated and they're custom and passionately built for the models that they serve. So but until then, we're going to be properly masking our models. I've been using just regular household blue painter's tape, and it's been working, but it's been difficult to work with. It's just a lot of like cutting and time in between when I could just be shooting, and I think it's really important to be more efficient with my time. I've managed to really do a lot of hard work and get caught up on the channel, but and not just caught up, but really kind of far ahead where I need to be in order to have a better work-life balance. And so, you know, to do that, we also need to have the proper equipment. So I've gone through and I've spent the time to, you know, research all the things that I need, and I have all the things that I need now, which is pretty cool. And so until we're going to be using the Aztec Dummy masking kits, we're going to be using our Tamiya masking tape. I went ahead and picked some of this up, and then for our other series, and maybe even for this one where we do have some curved line, I went ahead and picked up some curved line tape as well. What I have seen for, you know, out there for basically taping off and masking off of models, we want actual modeling tape, and having some curved line tape is going to be really nice. I can just kind of move it along, and it's going to help us with our taping and masking process going forward. Now, to be clear, there's not an Aztec dummy for every model. I would say for a majority of what we got coming up in the next little bit, there are Aztec dummies for sure, but for this model, it doesn't exist. And so no matter what, it's going to be a custom paint job. Now, that being said, we are going to be working on a technique that I've just been kind of looking at and trying to figure out, and it's going to involve us taping off small sections. I am going to be replicating what I see on the box, which is screen accurate, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take our thinner tape. So what I have is a 6mm and a 10mm tape. I'm going to be taking our 6mm tape, and I'm going to be running it along panel lines and just kind of ripping it and letting it rip just kind of poorly. I'm not going to be clean lining it or anything like that. And I'm going to try to cover the areas where there's going to be the exposed gray from underneath. I thought about just painting it all and then trying to weather on top of it, but I don't think that that's going to work very well. So the approach that we're going to take is we're going to tape off those areas and then come back later on with our weathering brushes and then fill in the details. Straight lines are easy to correct with just a little bit of paint over the top of them. So I think that's going to be the approach we're going to take for this. We'll see. You know, as I always say, if there are tips and tricks, please let me know. But I think the approach is going to be we're going to tape off the major areas, and I'll put an image up here that I have from the side of the box. It's kind of awful. I just took a picture for myself, but basically where you see the light, we're going to be applying our tape, and we're going to be applying it, you know, loosely, roughly, not going to be really like thinking about it too much, but all the light parts on the red and even into the green. So the green, all the highlights there, we are going to approach using just weathering application later on. But for the lower part, because red is really hard to cover back up, we're going to be keeping the base coat, and so I'm just going to be kind of taking some tape and then, putting straight strips down, and then, like I said, we'll come back over the top with weathering later on. So after we do our tape work, we're going to go ahead and take her into the booth, and we're going to go ahead and put down, I don't know how many coats. Like, this is not supposed to be clean and nice and tidy like a Federation starship, for instance. Like, this is supposed to be weathered and well used, and I am going to take my time in between coats. It's likely that this episode is going to take me several days to shoot, because I'm really curious. I want to let the paint dry and then reapproach it and see how it looks, and then paint it again, and then let it dry completely, and then paint it again as necessary, bringing up any highlights, any lowlights that I feel is necessary. And I think that with the way the primer and the paint, I think the way they're going to interact is going to work really well. If anything that I've seen so far, this primer works as a really, really nice just surface to paint on. So what we picked up for our base color is from Vallejo. It's just the Model Air. It's their basic line of paint, and it is Marin Brown or Hull Red. And it's basically what you would see painted underneath a battleship, for instance. And it looks brown in here, but really it's a super light paint. And I went ahead and mixed up my premix here, and so we're ready to go. And so it does look brown, but when I kind of move the bottle to the side, you start to see the red kind of come through, and that's what I'm looking for in our paint. We'll see. I was very, very picky about my paint, and yeah, the color that they gave me inside the box, I don't know if I couldn't find it. I wasn't researching it right, but I couldn't find the one that they want. So went ahead and mixed up my color. I always do 1.2 to 1.25 flow improver and thinner, plus, basically 0.75 to 0.8 of our pigment. So that works really well on my airbrush, and it allows for, it's more coats. I'm finding my airbrush really likes painting at that consistency. It's more coats. With the Enterprise C, for instance, we're having to put down 9 coats in order to get a nice, even, consistent layer of color across the top. And so I'm kind of curious to see how many we're going to need of this. So let's go ahead and start with first. The one thing I'm noticing about modern models these days is there is a lot of flash left over. If you guys aren't aware what flash is, it is the little plastic bits that are left over from the molding process. And, when I was a kid, this just didn't happen. This wouldn't fly. It's interesting to me. Obviously, the models are produced quicker and faster than they were back in the day. But what we're going to have to do today is do some sanding first. And so what I have is I have my sanding stick, and then I have a buffing block here as well. So we have a little bit of the flash. So you'll see there up against the edge. So I went ahead and cleaned as a test this part, but then we have like this little plastic nubs that are kind of left over from the molding. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come one way and then back the other. And you'll see little bits of the model kind of falling off. And it's crazy to me that this exists. So we're going to go ahead and come up one way, come back down the other, and then going to pull that flash off by going straight across the top. And of course, before we get this into the booth, we are going to go ahead and dust it off. We want to make sure our edges are nice and clean. There's no excess. I know that this is around the edge of the model and we shouldn't experience too much. Look at that. Look at that. Just whole pieces of plastic. Wow, this is nuts. We just want to make sure that our parts, you know, fit together and fit onto this model properly, in the proper way, you know, and like, can't have that with little bits that are just flaying off the edge. So this is just part of, like, we're snapping in here, so I'm not too worried about the interior parts, actually, now that I think about it. I'm just worried about what we will be able to see in the end. Actually, Jordan, just want to make sure. No, we're good there. That's meant to be. Okay. Just making sure that on the internal parts where we see where we will see where they're going to connect. Okay. Sorry, where we see we're going to connect, I was making sure that we're all clean in those spots. And so now, I'm going to come through with my buffing block. Just clean up my edge. And then, of course, we will dust this off. And then we have the other part here of our base. We're going to go ahead and separate that from the sprue while leaving a lot of the connection in place. It's amazing to me how much of this is on here. This just didn't happen back in the day. Or I gotta be real, I just wasn't paying attention. But there we go. Our piece is nice and cleaned up there at the edge. And the whole point of the buffing block is to just make sure that we're going through in progressive layers. Finer grits, just cleaning up our edges. Once again, this is just primer, so I'm not too worried about it. We're going to have paint going over, and this model is to be weathered, and so if there's high and low spots in the paint, totally fine with that. Okay, so that one's all good to go. Let's set that one off to the side. Now what we have is the front portion of the cowl. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and separate this from the sprue just here at the edges. And then we're going to be leaving the rest for later. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and get our rough edge. What I'm doing is going straight in one direction, coming back straight in the other. This one's actually a little cleaner, actually, now that I see it. And then I'm going to go flat to pull off any flash. Oh, really nice. And we're going to go through our series of grits. So 1, 2, and then 3. In the same order. Look at all that stuff it's pulling up. Okay. Back the other way. Straight on. on. Switch over sides. Move the 2. Said this one wasn't so bad. That's a bit of a lie. We're going to come back in 3. This is much softer, much higher grit level. I'm just looking for any flash that might still exist. There we go. And we're going to be approaching this the same way for all pieces on this model now that I know that this is something we're going to be continuing with. Okay. So now, I'm going to go take a second and take some canned air and go blow these pieces off. I will be right back. All right, before we bring our pieces back, look at that. This is all of the excess plastic that was sitting on the edge of the model. This wouldn't have affected anything for the connection standpoint, but it would affect it from the visual standpoint and the quality perspective later on. So, my tip and trick for you all, which is something that I'm going to try to incorporate going forward now that I've learned a few things, my tip and trick for you, and specifically for this episode, is make sure you are taking the time to clean up your model and clean up your pieces and do all the necessary little bits to make sure that you are ensuring the highest quality product that you can, because you can't control mistakes, but what you can control is jank, and this is jank. So let's go ahead. That's insane to me. I'll go ahead and just add that to my carpet, because why not? I'm not going to have that on my model, but in a place where I walk around with bare feet, yes. So, here is our pieces back, and how we're going to approach this, we're going to build our tape this way. So I'm going to just kind of look at them as if they were together like that. And let's go ahead and grab our 6mm tape. I'll go ahead and put that image back up here on our screen in the top corner. Now that I know that that's going in the top corner, I'm going to do one of these, y'all. Check it out. Part of having this is an area for me to focus on as well while I'm recording. So I know where the camera's focused and I know where I need to leave some space. So that's kind of a cool little thing, and that's why I'm looking at getting a custom one made, though. There's a company out there that they make custom, like, printed ones, and I'm thinking about throwing our logo on that. Matt and I are finalizing a new logo, so same logo, just kind of a little bit more stylized. So anyway, yeah, these things are great, and that's also a very key thing for me. So I'm going to go ahead, let's start on the back portion of it, and you can see here, we are going to take some tape, and we're going to take it. Now I'm just going to just grab some tweezers here. Take my piece, and once again, I'm just ripping with my hands. I'm going to put a piece just kind of slightly past this line. Right there. I'm going to seal it up with the edge of the tweezers. There we are. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece and just kind of put it across, just like that. Pull my piece a little bit longer than I need. Well, that's a little bit more than, so I'm going to need 2 pieces of this, so That worked out. That's my plan. That's what I meant to do. God. So, once again, I'm not worried about the straight lines. I'm worried about just kind of getting the areas where I want the paint to not go. And then we will add the paint back later. So, see that's kind of coming up like this. I'm going to try to get the general shape. And I'm going to try to leave some dirty edges, just like this. So it kind of creates that effect. I have learned no techniques here. I am just going with what I feel is best and how I want to approach the model. And so we'll see how this goes. So now let's go ahead and grab a small piece. And I'm going to take it. Put it, like, I mean, it does not have to be 100% precise, y'all, as well. So this one is going to go just past this line. So that one comes up to there. We'll go right about here. Like, I'm not going to try to be screen accurate, but I'm going to try to be as close to it as possible. Lose the end. There it is. Let's grab another piece, and we're going to go directly above that. It's got a nice little dirty edge. So that one's going to come right about, how far up on the panel line? Right about here. About even. I'm going to offset it a little bit. There we go. Like that. And I'm going to take just a tiny little piece right here. And to match that one up here at the angle, I'm just going to put it right there. Then up along the edge, the top, seems like where the curve of where the turrets go. It's pretty blank around there, so that's going to be just like that. Sure. Huh. Sure, why not? I'm going to take another piece. We're going to go kind of along with it, actually. Let's do this. I'm going to come slightly down. Just like so. So it's like that. Then let's take piece and run it right here. And I'm trying to rip it very badly. Not too much. I don't know. Maybe not. I see how it's kind of wanting to go, so I'm going to kind of cover this like this. There we go. Now let's take a big piece, and we're going to put it right along here. I'm glad I made the decision for this tape. Great idea. Okay, now I'm going to take a small piece, run one kind of running up through this area, Another small piece. We're going to take that. Running down right here. I'm going to kind of slightly cover that one. There we go. Then I'm going to take just a tiny, tiny little piece and then just kind of run one straight through here, and that's going to be good for this side. And we'll move on to the front of this side before going to the other. I'll take a small piece like this. Cover the panel line. And basically, I think what this is supposed to be is like just the panels that are being lifted off and serviced over time. So, actually, okay. So now I'm going to come over to this side. We'll go ahead and throw our image up here. And it's pretty much, it looks similar, but a little bit different. Wow, that was deep, Jordan. Similar, but a little different. So, straight up and down. We're going to do one there. Just like that. Straight across right here. Not on my fingertip. This Tamiya tape is... Tamiya tape. I keep calling it Tamiya. Tamiya tape is just fantastic. Alright. A little bit right here covering this raised portion of the hull. Right here at the top. And I'm going to let whatever, I'm not going to push this stuff down tight at all. I'm going to let whatever light, paint bleed we get. Like, I want as much paint bleed as I can possibly get. Absolutely. Right here. And do a long strip. Long strip will start a little bit before here, so I'll start go right there. Like that. And we're going to kind of come up, one up, and then over. I'm excited about this whole process, actually. It's a whole new technique and something that I'm making up on my own. And maybe this is not smart, but I think this is how you should approach it. At least in my mind. Okay. So now let's take a little bit here. I'm just going to improvise a few spots here where I would see, where I would think naturally we'd have a little bit of a panel line. Basically, yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I think it's just like from removing the panels to like get things fixed. And, you know, the fire spray is an old class of ship. They don't make them anymore, sort of thing, so. I imagine that these panels have been removed quite a few times. What's interesting is Boba had it painted differently than his dad, Jango. Boba kind of... He went to the more... I mean, he matched his armor colors, basically. Just something that's actually didn't even think about until just now. If I'm being real. So... It's cool. Just realized that. Dope. So now I'm going to pick a couple spots where I'm just going to put tiny little pieces of tape. Just kind of odd angles. And not at all try to like connect it up in any way. This is a little bit more solid colored, so we will leave it as such. Now let me grab just one little spot of tape for over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape up the other side real quick and come back and show you what we've done. That, and then let's put one little tape spot right up here. Once again, like I said, just making sure these are messy. Want that one to be kind of like over the edge. So, there is... I hope this turns out good. Alright, we'll be right back to catch the other side. Okay, so there is what we have for the front of the cowling section. A little more subtle on this side. A little more spotty on that side, and then right up here up front, this is actually going to be painted in gray, and so we're going to go ahead and just mask that off. And so here are our two parts, and what we're going to go ahead and do now is move on into the paint booth. So it's likely that this is going to take, you know, about a couple days to paint, and so we will come back here at the end of the episode and kind of review what we've done. We'll pull our tape and see if proof of concept actually works. Enjoy the painting. We'll see you soon. Alright, you guys, we're back, and I gotta say that this turned out so much better than I thought. The first coat that went on a little brown for my liking, I gotta be real. So I went ahead, I've got this whole set of paint that I bought with my airbrush way back in the beginning when I first bought it. And the paint is airbrush paint that kind of sucks. It's no name brand, I have no idea, I've never seen it anywhere, so it's just kind of no name. But what I've done is I've used it as a pigment additive. And what I did is I created, this is the base color. I mean, it's kind of hard to see. But this is the base color that came, you know, it's the whole red. And what I wound up creating was that color. So it was about 30 drops of the red color. And when you got the brown on the first level, and then I put the two other coats, as we saw, of the red tinted. Man, I gotta say that this result was exactly what I was looking for. Now, to also be clear, I wasn't sure what we're going to be able to see from the bottom. And so I went ahead and just gave a light coating of that on the inside as well, just to make sure. Like, I wasn't sure, you know, what we're going to see. We see part numbers down here, so it's likely that we're not going to see anything, but just, you know, for the sake of quality, we went ahead and painted underneath as well. So I got to say that this whole process went really, really well for the color. It was really easy to paint, took no time. I've been painting a lot of saucer sections lately, so it was kind of really refreshing to, you know, work with something that took, you know, just a minute or two to kind of spray through. So let's go ahead and see if our proof of concept worked for our weathering effect along some panel lines and what have you. Obviously, we're going to have to live with the results, but I'm highly optimistic. Now, first, we're going to go ahead and clear off our tape from the front where we are going to be painting this gray eventually. Dark gray. Probably our phantom gray as well. It's a nice little homage to the Bad Batch, which that's kind of a cool thing. So we will definitely paint that phantom gray. The Bad Batch, and what I mean by that specifically is the Marauder. The Bad Batch is a bunch of clones, and Boba Fett is a clone. Super cool. Yeah, 100% using that. It's a nice little bit of, oh, what do you call that? I don't know what to call that. It's late. So, it's beautiful. So, let's go ahead and pull our tape from that, and oh, man, look at that. Look how clean that is. Yo, I don't know what I was missing with the household tape. I'm never, yeah. Wow. Look at those lines. Look at those lines. They're perfect. I have let this sit and dry also, just so you know, for several hours. Now, here's the first one. We'll see how this goes. Okay, we got a little bit of bleed through as well there. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see how this one comes off. Oh, man. Now, the idea is, of course, we're going to come back through here with our weathering brush, and we're going to use the same paint, and we're going to clean up our straight lines, but, oh, man, this is already, it's already looking good, y'all. Oh, man. Pat myself on the back. Oh, and I even got some bleed through. Sexy. Oh, I am so happy right now. I've been worried about this paint job in this episode for a minute and how I was going to approach this, and for it to work. Dude. I have to say, real quick, the progress, like, I believe everybody should, if you have a skill that you're good at and all those things, don't be afraid of bragging. And I'm a very humble person, but I gotta say that my skill level has increased tenfold since I started doing this a few months ago, and to be able to think about this, know what I'm doing when it comes to paint and all of that, like applying all of the skills, like this model is exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for that step up in quality. I was looking for that step up in skill level. I was looking for that step up so that, you know, as we start building not more bigger, wow, great English, Jordan. As we start building bigger models that are more complicated, we can start focusing on really doing high quality paint jobs. And so that's what we got going on here for sure. Oh, look at that. Nice. That one's definitely like a straight line, but it's perfect. Let's see how this one goes. Oh, I got some bleed through. Yes. So I'm going to stop patting myself on the back, but this is great. I just want to say that this is great. Oh, yeah, look at that, guys. So that portion of that's good. And that portion of this is all done and pulled. So once again, we're going to come through here and we're going to weather that. But that is a great start to what we're looking for here. Let's go ahead and pull our next layer of paint. Or tape. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted to rip a little edge of that piece of that edge off. Yeah, that's great. Oh, what did I do here? Oh, they stayed there for sure. I was like, wait, what did I do? Nice. Even got some bleed through. Oh, man. That's exactly how I wanted that piece to turn out right there. I'll get better with ripping my tape, too. Like, there's going to be... You know, I can obviously do stuff with ripping my tape and pre-cutting it, so... Oh, yeah. Oh. That was perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. We even have a little bit of that bleed. Oh, man. We got a little bit of that weathering effect there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Although we don't want that piece of tape right there. That's weird. Look at that. The bleed through even like... This is great. Oh, man. Okay, so that is that section all done, and I am just like a heathen for it. I love it. That is fantastic. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one real quick. Move all of our tape pieces out of the way. And this is going to be by far, I think, the more satisfying piece. Oh, yeah. The not pushing the tape all the way down and sealing it was 100% the hack here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dude. I just laugh because I was so worried for like the last week. I've just been thinking about it. How am I going to approach it? I've been studying pictures of the model and oh my god. Tamia, you're amazing. If you're watching, I'd love to be sponsored by you. I don't know if they even sponsor model builders. I think that's a thing. But please, that'd be great. Oh, man. Yes. Dude. Alright, there's that portion of it done. So once again, I know it's a lot of straight lines, but we are going to be going through and color correcting that with some weathering. But man, super clean. Oh yeah. Oh man. this is great. Oh, yeah. Which this is going to be a good one. Oh, look at that yellow tape. Oh, yeah. That's exactly the effect I was looking for right there. Oh, my God. Oh, I quit smoking a long time ago, but I almost need a cigarette right now. This is great. Super satisfied, guys. Alright, I'm going to slow down for these last couple pieces because we're coming to the end here. So, the next episode, we're going to be going ahead and putting on basically our green onto the front portion of the ship and using our tape here. And I can tell you, having already shot that video, oh man, guys, this is great. I think we're in luck with how we're going to be approaching all of our tape jobs going forward, for at least the time being. If we don't have one of the Aztec dummy sets, or if it's too expensive, because some of them are like $50, which is a little bit pricey for me. I really, when I could just do this and take my time. So, but we may approach it in different ways. But I think for the moment, this is the way we're going to go. So, for our very last piece of tape for the day. Oh, yeah. Oh, guys. Once again, I know it looks really weird, but that is exactly the effect that I was looking for. And then, we'll kind of come through here and burnish, and we're going to weather it with the same color, and then we're going to come in here and darken it up with a little bit of, some weathering makeup, basically. So there we are, guys. Oh, man. This is super cool. To have a concept in your brain, to watch it, develop and come together like this is just super cool. And, once again, being creative and using my brain to build something and know that this, although weird, is going to be something more amazing down the line. It's beautiful. The paint went on perfectly. The tape came off perfectly. I got the exact effect I was looking for, and I'm looking forward to weathering this thing up here in the near future. So, let me know what you guys think. I think that this turned out pretty good. I know there was a million things you could have done today, and instead you spent a couple minutes watching me build a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. Oh, and my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world, wherever you happen to be. And just remember that you are one with the Force, and that the Force is one with you.